I hope that you are all well. And if you don't know, my name is Alicia Haskett. I am the creator of Boudoir for Black Women. And before we get started on our topic for today, which I'm actually going to pin in the comments, I want to first say thank you. Thank you so much for not only being present, sharing, liking, commenting, viewing the stories, sending your images in, the patience that you have with sending your images in. All of these things are not just for us as boudoir photographers, but they are for the women that we serve, the Black women that we serve. So I greatly appreciate the time and effort that you put in to do that, because I understand that you have a business to run, but I also understand that you understand the level of what we are doing to not only promote ourselves as business owners and photographers, but also to promote Black women and let them know that they deserve this form of luxury for themselves. So thank you for that. So I'm going to put into the actual information here. So we're talking about collaboration, which is, and not just regular collaboration, but we're talking about successful collaboration. And I'm going to give you 5 different ways that you can actually be successful with collaboration. So if you're watching this later, definitely take notes. If you're going to watch it with us now, definitely take notes, because this is going to be something that allows you to not only think about collaboration in a way that is just getting your name out there, but it's also a way to actually invest in your business and get a return on your investment. So the first thing is, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you collaborated before? And if you have collaborated before, what was the outcome? Was it something that you felt was enough? Did you do enough? Did you feel like the other person didn't do enough? I know I'm speaking from experience, because I've done that where I've collaborated with others and I felt like I was putting in more effort than they were. So what has been your actual experience with collaboration? And if it was positive, what was positive about it? If it was negative, why was it negative? And that's something that we always should do, is go back and see what worked and what didn't work. So we're going to start with number 1, and I'm just going to tap so I can see what time it is. Okay. So number 1 is you need to identify your why. Why do you want to actually collaborate with someone or a brand? Why? And you want to have your why, because that why, but you keep in the top of your mind, is the reason that you're thinking to yourself, okay, is this worth it? If things are going left because there's a negative experience happening and this person's not doing their part of what you agreed upon, what are you going to do? So you have to think about, what is that why? That why should always be there. That should be the first thing you think about. Just like when you are doing your own business. What is the reason that you started your business? It's the same thing for collaboration. What is the reason why? So that's number 1. Number 2 is you want to think about, who is it that you actually want to be in collaboration with? Is it another person? Is it another business? Is it a brand? And you want to think about these things because you want to think to yourself, does this brand, does this business, does this person align with what I am doing? So for instance, if you are a boudoir photographer, you may want to align yourself with a lingerie company. And then you also want to think, does this lingerie company really value what I value? Or are they seeing me just as another photographer where they can get images from me, but I don't really get the value of me working with them? So who is it that you want to work with? So the first thing was the why. The second thing is the who. The third thing is how. How are you going to reach out to this brand, to the business owner? How are you going to do that? Are you going to take the time to send an email? If you're going to send an email, what is the email going to sound like? Is it going to be formal? Is it going to be informal? Are you going to send a DM or a private message? And if so, on what platform? Is this a business that you follow on Twitter? So are you going to send them a DM on Twitter? Are you going to send a DM, let's say, via Instagram? And if that's the case, how are you going to set that up so that way that business always wants to check what you have to say? Because this at this time, there are so many people, since we are at home because of Miss Rona, there are so many people who are sliding into DMs. So you have to make sure that your message is a message that makes that person want to take notice. So how are you going to start that conversation? So that's the how. How are you going to start it? What are you going to say? What are you going to do to make you get noticed? So again, we started with the why. What is your why? Why do you want to collaborate? Number 2 is who. Who do you want to collaborate with? Is it a business? Is it a brand? Is it an influencer? So have that information so you know how now you want to actually interact with them. So is it on social media? Is it via, LinkedIn? Is it Twitter? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Are you going to just put a comment underneath of a picture that they have? Or are you going to slide into those DMs? So that is also the one thing you also have to know. And if they do not, this is what happens. If they don't check their DM, how else are you going to get in touch with them? So are you going to do a campaign where you send DMs, then you send a Instagram message, then you send a Twitter message, then you send a email? So how are you going to take those steps? And then for you yourself, what are you going to do if those things don't work out? So that's one other thing that you want to think about. Are you going to be persistent, or are you just going to say, it is what it is? The 4th thing, and I'm looking at my notes, the 4th thing that you really want to think about is the what. What do you want to collaborate on? What is it that you have that is valuable to this brand, this business? Especially if you're thinking about a brand, and a brand that maybe is a larger brand, you want to think to yourself, what is it that they have that I can give them? Right now, especially in 2020, we have seen a big push for diversity. And not just diversity, but Black people being in spaces and places. So think about that. What is it that you can give to a business so they are able to say, you know what? I want to invest in you like you're investing in me, because I see that, one, you have an audience. That's the biggest thing. You have a community that you actually are able to go to and say, hey, I've connected with X, Y, and Z brand. Let me show you what I'm able to do by connecting with this brand. And we're going to have this contest, this giveaway, or we're going to be doing a lingerie shoot. So let me show you the pieces that I received. So you always, always, always want to think about the what. What is it that you want to collaborate on? When you are going and sliding into DMs, you need to make sure that you understand that this is what I want to offer to this person, this influencer, this brand. So that way, when they come back to you, you already know, listen, this is what I can offer you. Are you willing to do this with me? One of the things that happens when I have people come to me and in my experience page and want to talk about collaboration is that I always ask them, okay, so what do you want to do? What do you want to collaborate on? And sometimes it's, I don't know. I just know that, you take pictures and you support Black women. So, I just want to know what we can do together. I really don't have the time. I don't want to have to figure out what it is that we can do together if you are coming to me. So if you are going to a business, you need to already have everything in play of what it is that you offer, what it is that you want to see collaboration looks like with that business, because many times, as we all know right now, people are busy. Even in this time of being in quarantine, people are still busy. A lot of people have pivoted because of quarantine, so they are actually doing more business at home. So you need to be not only in front of them, but you also need to show them why they should work with you. What is it that you bring to the table? Instead of just saying, I am the table, because I know how we do. But what is it that you bring to the table that they cannot say, you know what? I'm good. No, I'm okay. Thank you. No, thank you. What is it that you bring? Now, that could be your personality. That could be your charisma. That could be, your community. And don't limit yourself. I think, like I said, now, because we are in this space where everybody is screaming, I am diverse. I am, I show that I am standing with Black people. This is what I'm able to do. Put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. Because these brands want to be in front of your audience. They want to see that you have a community. So if you haven't started building a community, now is definitely the time to do so. Start small and then continue to grow. Let people see who you are, what you're about, and go from there. You want to show up as your authentic self. You do not want to show up as someone else. You want to show up as exactly who you say you are. So that way, when these brands come, they start to see that you're on Instagram and you show up with consistency. They start to see that you are on YouTube and you are posting every month and you are consistent with posting every month. These brands want to see consistency. And the same thing should be said for when you are trying to collaborate with someone else. Are they consistent with what they're doing? Is their message across Instagram, across Twitter, across LinkedIn, across Facebook, even in their email signature, is it the same? They're going to be looking at the same thing for you. Is what you are saying the same across all of your platforms? And if not, then you are shooting yourself in the foot. So whatever you need to do right now to make sure that your branding is the same across every single platform that you are on, you need to get it done. So when this collaboration does come, I'm putting it out there, when this collaboration does come for you, you are able to just hit the ground running with that brand because you already know that they align with what you have going on. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is where. Where are you going to show this collaboration happening? So if you are big on Instagram, how are you going to show that you're doing a collaboration with, again, I'm going to say a lingerie company. So is that behind the scenes video? Is that being able to give a giveaway and say, hey, I'm collaborating with, for me, I did Cherry Blossom Intimates. I'm collaborating with Cherry Blossom Intimates. I'm now offering a package with them. So let me show you what that looks like. And actually going into the store, talking with the owners, being able to show that you and that brand are one and are connected. You also want to think about, when it comes to the where, is how long is this collaboration going to last? Because if you are setting yourself up to say, okay, I know that I want to be able to have maybe 5 collaborations throughout the year, and I want to do maybe one every 2 months or so, then you need to have that in your mind when you're thinking about what am I going to do and where. So I'm going to be on Instagram. I'm going to be doing the behind the scenes. Or if I'm going to be on LinkedIn, that's a more professional side. So what am I going to do and show with that? Am I showing video? Am I doing, testimonials of how I work with this business and this is what happened? So you want to think about all of these things before you even start to think about reaching out to a brand, an influencer, or just a regular business and saying, hey, I want to connect with you. So we're going to go back. I want to make sure that I'm going through all of the notes again. So the first thing that I always want to say is collaboration and marketing definitely go hand in hand. You cannot pay for certain, I would say, ads that you can get if you can put yourself in a position to collaborate with a business that is larger than yours, especially if they have an audience that is engaged. That is a marketing that you cannot buy. So take the necessary steps, which is step 1. Why? Why do you want to collaborate? What is the purpose? If it's just for advertising, then what is it that you want to show with that advertising? As I said, I keep using the example of a lingerie brand. So if you want to shoot a lingerie brand, then your why would be, I want to be able to show this brand and bring models in. And then not only is my photography being shown to their brand, but I also am able to say, hey, to my audience, to my community, that I've collaborated with this company, and then that seems like I have more value in their eyes. The second thing that you want to do is you want to think about who. Who is it that you want to collaborate with? Is it an influencer? Is it a brand? Is it a local business that you are working with in order to collaborate? So that's going to be important. You want to either have a list I would say start small and then work your way down. And then you also want to think to yourself, if I'm collaborating with this brand, what is it that I'm getting from it? So if you are at that point where you're thinking about the who, you want to think about what are your values? What is it that your brand shows your audience? And if you're thinking about relating to someone else, you want to think about, if let's say for instance for me, if I'm all about Black women and I'm all about what we do and how we are the standard of beauty, I'm not going to collaborate with a business that is like, oh, the majority of their Instagram feed are white women. That would not make any sense. My community would look at me like, what are you doing? So it's important that you know the who. Who is it that you are connecting with, and does it align with what you already have going on? And if not, just cross that off, cross that brand, that business, that influencer off. It's not worth it. The next thing is number 3, the how. How will you get in touch with these brands, these influencers, these businesses? Are you going to slide into the DM? Are you going to send them a LinkedIn message? Are you going to email them? If you email them, is it going to be an informal or a formal email? Do you already know someone who actually is already in the business or who is a part of that brand? Can you just slide to them and say, hey, I am trying to do X, Y, and Z. I know that your brand does this, or I know that your business does this. Who do I have to speak with to see if I am able to get in to the ground floor and work with you all to build a network, to build a community with you so I can share with my community. So that's step number 3. Number 4, tip number 4 is what? What is just as important? What are you going to collaborate on? So I said this. I have had businesses that have come to me to ask about collaboration, but they don't know what they want to collaborate on. They just know that I am a photographer. That's all they know. They know nothing else about what that means with my brand. Even recently, I had someone who reached out to me to be a part of a program where she is going to be talking to Black women about self-care. And in her mind, because she did not do her due diligence, she just knew I took pictures and that's it. So immediately I'm thinking to myself, why should I work with you if you have no idea what I do outside of you just take pictures of Black women? So do your due diligence, know exactly what it is that you want to share and that you want to collaborate on. So if it is taking pictures, if it is, sharing them on your feed, if it is a giveaway, what is it that you are able to bring to the table? And then you also need to know what they are bringing to the table. This is all about reciprocity. You want to be able to make sure that your value is just as much as their value. And sometimes it may not be, depending on who the brand is. Because they may have a larger audience, it may be that you maybe have to give a little bit more in order to work with them. But in the long term, in the long run, you automatically know that it's going to benefit your business to connect with them. So you have to really stop and think about these things that I'm giving you, these tips, because they're going to help in the long run instead of you trying to collaborate with so many businesses and then you fall short of what you actually wanted to do. The last thing is where. Where are you going to show this collaboration taking place? If you're on Facebook, are you going to be going live? Do you have a VIP group where you are telling them, hey, I'm doing this collaboration with, Cherry Blossom Intimates. Let me show you what I got. Let me show you what's happening behind the scenes. Are you going to do LinkedIn, which is more professional? Are you going to do Twitter, which for us, Black Twitter is like the thing. So what is it that you are going to be able to show and where? That's going to be important. So all of these things, all of these tips that I've given you, I hope that they help you when it comes to collaboration. And these work for any business, photography. It could be, healthcare, anything that you have in your mind when it comes to collaboration is going to be important because, as I said, collaboration and marketing go hand in hand. Literally, you can put yourself in a position to not only get more clients, to build your community, to have longevity if you are able to collaborate with the right business. So do not take this lightly. Take your time. Understand what you are able to offer, to bring to the table. Understand what they are bringing to the table. I always stress having a contract. Having a contract is also, I would say, the sixth tip, because you want to state exactly what you are offering. And then you also want them to state exactly what they are offering. You want to talk about what is the time frame. Is there any money involved? And sometimes with collaboration, there may be. You may have to buy certain products to show them that, you are vested in their business when it comes to collaboration, and then maybe they will give you more. But you have to understand that when you're doing these things, that you want to make sure that they know exactly up front what it is that you want from them. And I always say to be as clear and concise as possible. You should not have any wiggle room for them, for the business, for the brand, for the influencer to say, oh, well, I thought that you were going to do this if I did this. Write it out in layman's terms. I always like to do bullet points. I'm going to do X, Y, Z, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And then because I'm doing 1, 2, 3, and 4, you are also going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, the date. What is the date that you're starting? What is the date that this is supposed to end? You should definitely have an end date. And then you also want to make sure, again, that you know where. Where is this going to take place? So also put that on the contract. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them here. But I just, again, always want to say thank you. I appreciate the love and support that you give Boudoir for Black Women. This is a platform that is for us and by us. And I just want to make sure that you understand that we are here to support you. So if you have not already joined us on Facebook in our actual group where we talk about a load of stuff, if you are a Black boudoir photographer, then you need to get in there. You really need to get in there, because we are sharing resources. We are sharing, information about what is it that you need to do in order to be the best version of yourself as a boudoir photographer. We are talking about, the perils that happen as a Black boudoir photographer and working with clients of all races. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being able to get this information, because it's important. It's really, really important. And I think that is something that we don't think about when it comes to business. I know for me, sometimes I have tunnel vision with my business, but collaboration, as I said, collaboration and networking can get you into places that you would not even imagine if you do it correctly. So going back through the tips, number 1, and again, I'm reading off my notes. Number 1 is to understand your why. Why do you want to do this? Number 2 is who. Who do you want to work with? Is it a brand? Is it a business? Is it an influencer? Number 3 is how. How are you going to get in touch with this business, this influencer, this brand? Number 4 is what. What do you bring to the table? What do you want to collaborate on? And then number 5 is where. Where is this collaboration going to take place? Social media, website, email marketing. And then my last and final tip is to make sure that you always get everything in writing. Cover your ass. Get it in writing. Because you don't want to be in a position where you felt like, oh, I thought that you were going to do this. And they said, well, no, I thought that this is what we discussed. So have a contract for it. Make sure you have emails that explicitly state what you are offering. So that way there is no wiggle room in order to try to say something else was supposed to happen and it did not. And trust me, I'm telling you from experience, make sure you get it in writing. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment on this video. It will be saved. And with this, I want to thank you again for your support. I want to thank you for sending your images. Please send your images so we can continue to show Black women that they are beautiful, they are worthy, they are the standard of beauty. And always, if you have questions, if you have concerns, send us a message, email us, DM us. We are here for you. And again, if you are a Black boudoir photographer, please, please, please make sure that you join us on Facebook, where we are actually putting in the work and we are talking about things that relate to us as boudoir photographers. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you missed this, it is going to be saved. So please make sure that you check and you can go and back and watch it yourself, because I gave some good information, y'all. Really good information. So thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, make sure you are taking care of yourself so you can take care of others, especially as a business owner right now. If you are trying to give 100% to 15 different things, you are not going to be as successful as you think you are. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and have an amazing night.